Mike, I've really enjoyed our conversation and thank you so much for being part of our project. I wonder, could you just summarise a little about your story for the viewers, please?
Well, my brother and I came from forces background. My parents were both in the forces. David worked for the United Nations and then went into humanitarian work. In March 2013, while serving in Syria with a humanitarian organisation, David was taken captive. He was held for 18 months where he was tortured, he was beaten, mistreated, before on the 13th of September 2014 he was murdered and a video of his death put on the internet for the world to see. Since then I have embarked on a journey where I speak at schools, colleges, youth groups, organisations here in the UK and abroad. I go to talk of unity, tolerance and peace between communities. I go to try and fight the hatred, the division, the intolerance that the terrorists, extremists, the hate mongers of all types seek to sow in our communities.
And you had to break the news to your mum and dad, to David's wife, to his daughter, that he had been taken captive, and then over those 18 long months I know you were the point of contact and the point of liaison, and then ultimately you had to break the news of David's murder by ISIS. And as you've explained, you've really discovered a life of purpose, as I would by my definition, and I was really interested to hear what your definition of thriving is, and I wonder if you would share that, please.
Thriving for me is fighting. With my own particular situation, the murder of my brother, terror attacks, hate crimes, hate speech, all have hatred at choice. The murder of my brother was about hatred. They wanted me to stand up and spout hate, so I was not going to do their job for them. I speak at schools, and that's my way of fighting. I try to take from them the dividers, the haters. I try to take our youth away from them, to show our youth that hatred is a choice and they have that power of choice. It's a very personal battle for myself. Every time some student chooses not to hate, it's a win for my brother.
That's beautifully put. We've spoken about the mindsets, the approaches, the strategies that have been vital in your fight, your good fight. And I'd like you to share one or two of those, please.
Choice is a very big point. We all face choices. And it's that recognition that we can choose things to take away from our lives, or we can choose things to make our lives richer, to better society, or to take away from society. That I had a choice. Every day I have a choice. Do I choose hatred, or do I try to do something positive? So every day I try to be a better man, I try to be a better member of my community, of the society, I try better humanity. And also there's that sense of purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I have to do something positive around the death of my brother, around the deaths of my parents. I have to make my brother's death mean something. David not remembered for the way that he died, but remembered for the work that he did. Yeah, I think those are the key points.
Mm. And we spoke, I mean, you mentioned the death of David, but we've also continued your story beyond that to the loss of your mum and then your father. And what I want the viewers to really understand from you, the way that I feel I understand it now, having heard your story, is that the trauma didn't end with David's death, that, you know, your mum essentially, if I've heard you correctly, gave up her existence because of the pain that she felt through the death of David. And then your father, who was suffering from dementia, ultimately he passed too. And so when I hear you talk about purpose, I hear it's not just David's death that you're taking energy from and in a sense living through the values that he lived through in his humanitarian work, but that it's beyond that. Have I got that right?
Yeah, it's very much. Yeah, the murder of my brother took, as you say, it took my mother as well as my father. I had that choice whether to become less or try to become more. And I do the work that I do so that if one person changes, then we've won. And
you know, I want to make the point on your behalf that it's not just one person. You've spoken to hundreds of people, and you are fighting, and your fight is producing results, manifold results.
Thank you.
So
thank you.
I don't know if you want to say anything about that before we close the video.
So we've had many stories and letters from students, from parents, from teachers, schools, police, about how people have chosen not to hate, who have chosen to do something positive, and that has a value greater than gold. When someone hears my presentation and chooses not to hatred, they are raising a glass to my brother. They are shouting out that what we have in this country, all the different faiths, colours, cultures, languages represented, is a strength. They are shouting out that we are good and we're staying this way and we're not letting the haters divide us. And they are fighting not with words, fighting not with weapons, fists, but fighting with their heart and fighting with their humanity. And that wherever David Mum and Dad are going to be pretty pleased.
What a wonderful note to end on. Mike, I'm delighted to have you as part of this project. Thank you.
Thank you.